the discomfort creates some sort of
Right.
anxiety and
Right.
it breaks down the
Most people
communication
don't think
system.
about that. I'm glad
Right,
that you
that's
bring
right,
it up.
Right.
So, all right, let's go. Let me ask you another question. What are some of the essential needs of moms so that the parenting experience includes mom's sense of sense of being valued?
Okay. Well, first of all, moms need. I don't think a lot of fathers appreciate how much work that the mothers are doing. They're stay-at-home mothers, and let's just address the stay-at-home mothers.
Right.
And I think like especially when the children are young, let's say the first couple of months, address that, and they think that like the kids sleep most of the day, and moms are like watching television or exercise videos and texting. The truth is, it's like the first time that I ever took care of a kid, my child, for a whole 3 days,
Right.
and my wife is away on a conference. It was, and I've done a lot of hard labor in my life, really. And I'll tell you, this is the hardest work that I ever did, and it really gave me. It was a terrific lesson to learn. And so, what we have to do, fathers, is make sure that you give moms lots of positive reinforcement. You compliment them for the efforts that they make. Just remember this: moms want you to be there for them. They don't want you to do things for them. By doing stuff, I mean that you don't have to bring flowers home. Oh, it's a beautiful gesture, and I'm sure
Right.
they'll appreciate it. But forget about the Whitman sampler and the flowers. What they want you to do is you come in and you sit down and you talk to them.
Right.
What was your day like? What signs of growth did our child show? And I think you want to share some of your day with them,
Right.
but the important point is that you are involved on some emotional level that goes beyond just what the facts of
Right.
reporting what the day's activities were.
Right. Yeah. Involved in the big picture. It's now obvious to me that if you want to be, if you want your wife to be happy with you, and the marriage to be moving smoothly, you have to do things that like for instance washing dishes, cleaning up a little bit,
The chores, sure,
participating.
no, that's right. Yeah, right. No, it's like, and to extend that a little bit, right? If you, I know you're coming home from work and nobody likes you want to sit down with the paper and watch the news or play with the kid. Okay, you can do that too, but you might have to delay it a little bit.
Right.
Your first responsibility now, when you come home, if you're to help mom, is to give her a little spell and see how the kid is doing. You really don't have to tell fathers this, because after they get connected to their kids, believe me,
Right.
most of them are going to come flying into the house, and the first thing, you forget about that they have a wife. They're going to fly into that place and take a
Right.
look and see, what's the kid doing here? What's our kid doing?
Right.
It's like, it's not her kid, it's our kid.
And you mentioned the stay-at-home mothers, but I would imagine that the larger percentage of the population is two working.
It's sure,
parents.
it's much larger
Much
population
larger.
of working moms. So what do you want to do to maintain like a closeness with them? If you can do the doctor's visits
Right.
with them, and if
Right.
you can, like what we said, the chores, but when the kids are older and they're in preschool, and maybe you could drop the child off or pick them up, or make arrangements with your boss that you have a little more flexibility in your schedule. And since most of there's a lot of people now have that ability to work at home
Right.
for a day and sometimes 2 a week, use that day or two to pick up the slack, and give mom a little looser time to go out and, when
Right.
you're working together.
Yeah, that's huge. That's I mean I know that helps us a lot. When my wife finally realized that she could ask me for time off without feeling guilty. And and I never had a problem with it. In fact, I have boys, right? I really don't want to bring a girl along. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Because
I see.
we're doing boys stuff, and we're
Okay,
running around like
okay,
maniacs. We're getting
okay.
dirty. We're in the mud.
Okay.
My wife's not going to do that. I don't want to drag her along. She's going to be a downer, and so when she stays, yeah, totally.
What
and
he
when
means
she stays,
he means is that basically moms are overprotective, and the guys, they want to play them. The kids
Right.
get dirty, they get scrapes, they get cuts and bruises, they fall, they cry, and this breaks moms' hearts. So that's why dads actually have to take their kids out, because they teach the kids that to fall down is not such a bad thing,
Right.
and then they learn to pick themselves up. dust themselves off and try again.
All right. Let me ask you another question. What can moms do to help dads get more involved and develop the self-confidence to become?
Okay, well, father's really, in the very beginning, it's mom's baby. She's been carrying it for all of these months, and all we can do is we've been talking to the fetus and singing to it and maybe reading stories to it. But essentially, like, their body has been, in charge of this. And then when the baby finally arrives, they have this symbiotic relationship with the infant, and fathers very often feel left out. I think mothers need to, that's a really important point for fathers to engage them from the time you leave the hospital. Fathers say to me sometimes, it's like, I feel so left out. She's doing the breastfeeding and I can't. Well, okay, so this is really, the breastfeeding is really the only thing that moms do that we can't do. You can take the baby as soon as the baby is finished feeding. You can burp the baby, change the baby, bathe the baby. All of these things guys can do. But we do need mothers to encourage us. We need moms to tell us to spend some time alone and build up your self-confidence. That's the only way you're going to do it. If you don't have access to the child becomes more and more alien to you, and you become more and more frightened to pick it up the bigger it gets.
Right.
But if you've had it since it's like first arrived, and you're used to burping it and carrying it around and throwing it up in the air and catching it, of course.
Catching
it's
it.
like,
that helps.
But moms have to, they have to like make sure they don't act as gatekeepers. Like, okay, this is your 15 minutes with it, and then I get the baby back. Right. It's like you take it and you take a walk with it, and you put it in the snuggly, go to the store with it, take the laundry out, do all of those things.
Right. Yeah. No. So I think that you've talked a lot about educating yourself, and I think that. To keep stress levels down, definitely, I know that it's helped me to read, to know more about what's going on.
It's so important. I said in one of the lectures, you buy a computer or a car, the first thing you do, you open up the instruction book to see like what's going on here and what the yellow button is, what the red button is for. And you have a child who's your child, who you're responsible for, not just for 18 or 21 years, but for the rest of their life, really. And you don't buy a book that tells you what to expect in the 18 to 36 months or 36 months to 48 months. They go through these developmental changes. So when you see them doing something different, you don't say, oh my God, what is he doing now?
Right.
You'll know what he's doing, what to expect.
What about guilt?
Guilt is like, fathers who put the burden on themselves, or sometimes their spouses do, that they want to be super dads. It's like their ego says, I'm going to be like the greatest dad. I'm going to be, you have to be imperfect, because I think like the father who keeps striving to be perfect, he's going to really in the long run be over controlling of the children and the family, and they're going to get kind of fed up with him in a hurry. Just learn to be imperfect. And when we're talking about guilt, if you drop the ball once in a while, you tell a kid you're going to be home at 6 and something comes up at the office that's really, really urgent, and you say, look, man, I can't come home until I won't be here till 7, but hang in there and I'll give you a bath. You just, don't worry about that hour you lost. Spend the time that you do get home, use that as quality time, to really bond with your child. But guilt is going to create stress, it's going to create anxiety, and it's going to create anger. Guilt is a terrible thing to carry around, and it's going to separate dad from further interactions with his kid.
And good communication will help you with that, because, in my case, I feel like I'm away from home a lot. And because of work, I seem to work a lot of hours. And then, so what I'll do is I'll text my wife and I'll say, hey, look, please tell the boys that I'm going to be late. I'm not going to see them tonight, right? But also tell them that I'm going to see them in the morning.
Okay. And do you get on the phone and talk to them for a few minutes so they hear your voice?
I sometimes do, and they've learned that they can also pick up my wife's phone and call me.
Oh, great. Okay. Yeah, now they know how to use the phone and communicate.
Right.
You're available.
Right.
Hey, look, that's what dad means: dependability, availability, and dedication. But the availability thing is like really, you're their comfort blanket. You're the blankie the invisible blankie, and they need to have the security to know that I need to talk to dad, bing, 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 dead. I just wanted to tell you that I had like a little problem at school today, but we could talk about it when you get home.
Right. So let's go ahead and review some of the conversation that we've had, which is extensive. So let's see, we're talking about, again, stress, its management, and guilt. Dads need positive reinforcement to develop self-confidence. You need time alone with the child, and obviously don't be a